How many of us here can speak in 3 languages? Any of us here can speak in 3 languages? What about 5?
Silence is included? Yes.
Wow. So India alone has around 700 languages and the world has over 7,000. Which means we are surrounded by a world that is filled with words. But yet somehow communication remains one of humanity's greatest struggles. Think about it. We have all the words in the world, quite literally. But yet, wars start, friendships get broken, and love gets misunderstood. Simply because the right words weren't heard, or maybe were not felt. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak at your club. And today I am looking to explore a topic that has been echoing in my mind. If language is what makes us human, then why do we so often fail to understand each other? So, for the longest time, I used to believe that perfect communication was about the perfect grammar, perfect tone, perfect pronunciation. I used to envy people who could flip and switch between languages like Hindi, English, Gujarati, Tamil. They could move languages like moving between radio stations. But then, life gave me a lesson. Not in the classroom, but at an outside coconut stall. So once my friend visiting Chennai got down the car to buy some coconuts. In 10 seconds, she came running back to me and said, Krina, I don't understand Tamil. Before I could go and help her, she marched back to the coconut vendor and said, Anna, coconut, 2, how much? The man smiled and he showed 5 fingers and said Ambad, which means 50. A perfect conversation between 2 people who did not know each other's language. That is when I realized that communication begins when the fear of imperfection ends. It was no longer about speaking correctly, but rather connecting courageously. Then a few months later, life gave me another story that helped me think about this topic a little more. Then I was in Meghalaya. It was cold out there and I needed to use the restroom. Again, I didn't know the language and the lady at the store didn't understand mine. So I did what a lot of us might have done. I used the universal symbol of urgency. I raised pinky finger. The lady at the store, she burst out laughing. And then she held my hand and walked me to the road. After that, she pointed at a small signboard across the road. Problem solved. No words, no translation, but a perfect communication again. This showed me that sometimes your body speaks louder than your tongue. Your eyes, your smiles, your gestures, they translate emotion into meaning. And then there is a third kind of communication, the silent one. It is the one where a parent looks at his child and immediately knows that my son is definitely lying about something. Or the one where you look at your friend across the room, you just glance at him and it says to each other that you understand what is going on in the room, but you're fairly helpless with what is happening. Or the one where your child comes back home. You place your hand on his head. You say nothing, but yet you just say everything. This type of communication has no words. It has no dictionary, no grammar, and no mistakes. it only has emotion. This is where we understand that it is not communication given birth by language, but rather communication giving birth to language. Language is simply a bridge that helps us connect with each other and not the destination. But as humans, we so often get involved in the words what he or she said and forget that actual communication lies in the intent of what the person is trying to say. So, for example, how many of us here have pets at home? My uncle has a Labrador. I speak to him in English. My mom speaks to him in Gujarati and my neighbors in Hindi or Tamil. Now, my dog does not understand any of these languages, but yet he very beautifully understands all of us. This is where we understand that language is not in the tongue always, it is here in the heart. So, the next time you hesitate before speaking to someone because your grammar is not perfect, just remember that your vocabulary can be expanded, your tone can be corrected with time. At Toastmasters, we understand that our public speaking will improve as we keep presenting over and over. But our intent, we're already so fluent at it and we can connect with each other that way. So stop trying to speak perfectly. Rather, start connecting deeply. Because when words fall short, it is the connection that speaks. This is my time today. This is Toastmaster Krina Sanghvi, and I've had a pleasure speaking here. Thank you so much.